Hey girl, welcome back to today's episode. You are here and listening to the Her Best Self podcast, and I am super excited to talk to you today about something deeply personal yet universally relevant in my life right now, and that is the art of being a beginner. Being a beginner again. And this is a concept that not only has kind of resurrected itself as I continue to coach more and more women around eating disorder recovery, but specifically in the context of facing a challenge like recovery when you're in the messy middle of it. And that certainly requires you to build again, to rebuild your life, to create this best version of you, and to become a beginner again. Because everything that the disorder has taught you over time and those lies that you've been believing are truths are just lies. And the reality is the more awareness that you get around this, the more present you are and the more still you are, the more you realize rationally, like you're going to have to relearn some things. You're going to have to be okay being a beginner. That can take some time. That can take, some hard work. And quite honestly, it can be challenging when you love being a high performer or a master. So today's episode is all around the art of beginning again. I'm going to challenge you with some stillness this week and to give you 4 different strategies that you can try on this week to apply to your life to create a more peaceful life, to create a more still life. Let's dive in to today's episode. Here we go, sis. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsay Nickel, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you. Because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess, trapped in the destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it. So you can start living your best life as your best self. Hey girl, how is your week going? I hope it is off to a really great start. I am coming at you today to talk about the art of beginning and even beginning again and how we can tie this in to recovery. You need to hear this, sis. Like, it is so hard when you live in this perfectionist mentality to be okay being a beginner. It's like we already want to have the advanced degree. We already want to be there. We already want to get to the other side of this thing. And even if we haven't fully embraced the fact that, we're going to have to go through some hard things, we are still fast forwarding to the very end of all of it, where we're just like, how do I get better? How do I show up better for the people around me? And I just don't enjoy being a beginner. And so this has come up actually very recently on a couple of my coaching calls with personal clients that I coach. It has just been such a common theme that I wanted to incorporate it into an episode of the show. It's funny how life will throw you some stories that can integrate into these types of things that I like to share here on the podcast. And so my boys, we actually live within walking distance to school. They typically ride their bikes, but it is pretty cold outside right now. They gotten brand new bikes for Christmas this year. And so they have been chomping at the bit to ride these bikes. So with that in mind, I was like, okay, it is a 55-degree day here in Virginia. We are going to get our bikes together. We are going to show off our new bikes because they wanted to show their friends their new bikes that they got for Christmas that have been trapped inside of our garage because it's been so freaking cold outside. And so finally we are getting ready to go to school. We're getting the bikes out, and my youngest son, whose bike actually got bigger because he got bigger, goes, "Mom, I can't ride this." And my husband and I look at each other and we look at him and we're like, "What do you mean you can't ride this? Like, we taught you how to ride a bike. You know how to ride a bike." He goes, "No, this bike is different. I don't think I can ride this bike. I'm going to have to learn it again, and I'm going to be late for school, or I'm going to fall." And all these fears kind of came up. I looked at him and I said, "Bud, you know how to ride a bike. We're going to be there right with you on our little path to school. You're going to be just fine. It's okay to learn how to ride a bike again. It's just, this is a different bike. We're going to learn how to be a beginner on this bike. And we lowered the seat for him. He felt a little bit more confident. And I wanted to bring this story into recovery because I feel like recovery is a lot like riding a bike, or maybe relearning how to ride a bike. We are relearning and actually unlearning parts of ourselves that no longer were serving us, and then jumping on a bike and just going with it. And life is a lot like that, right? Like where we might learn something and then we have to unlearn it or relearn it a new way or a different way as the seasons of our life change. And so what I wanted to bring to you today on the show was just this understanding that recovery is going to have ebbs and flows. It is. And like Henry Ford says, failure is the opportunity to begin again just more intelligently. You are going to have challenges. You are going to have failures. You are going to have moments in recovery where you want to throw in the towel, where you want to get off the bike, where you have bruise and scrapes and all kinds of things. But we have to learn how to be okay in those moments, reframing what it means to be a beginner. In 2 Corinthians 5:17, we're reminded that therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. And what this means is the old has gone. The new is here. This powerful message, it can speak so much to our ability as humans to begin anew, to begin again, to be a beginner, and to be transformed through faith, through perseverance. The concept, really, whether you are a Christian or not, is to emphasize the growth mindset. And I've talked about growth mindset here on the show, but in beginning again, it teaches you that your ability and your strength, it can be developed. It can be developed through dedication. It can be developed from learning. It can be developed, yes, even through the down days, the awful, no good struggles. Just as a tiny little seed is going to break into the ground and grow to become this flourishing flower, which bring on spring because I don't know, but your girl is tired of hibernation mode. Your challenges, sis, in recovery are going to be opportunities for profound personal and spiritual growth for you. And what I want you to understand today and take away with from the show, if anything else, is that God doesn't expect perfection from you. He seeks your willingness. He wants you to grow. He wants you to trust in the process. He wants you to trust that he has your best interest in mind. Remember, he gave you this vessel in the first place. But in recovery, the mindset isn't about really starting over. It's about starting fresh with this renewed purpose and this new faith and this new passion in the journey ahead. Something that I realized when I was going through my own personal struggle was that I wanted to arrive so quickly where I was going, and I didn't even know what that actually meant. I just wanted to be done with the struggle of recovery, that I wasn't still. I wasn't challenging certain things that were going to lead to lasting recovery because I just wanted to rip the Band-Aid off and go full force. I also wasn't willing to change certain things about myself to get to the other side. It was like I had this tiny little map for myself that said, well, I will recover from my eating disorder, but only if I can gain up to this amount of weight, no more than that. Or I will recover from my eating disorder, but I'm not eating any of these foods and I'm never going to be the type of person that does this or does that. And I still want to be able to do my excessive workouts. And that was an unwillingness to really see the bigger picture, an unwillingness to let go and surrender that maybe the plans that I had for myself weren't actually the things that I needed in my life. And so I want you today to challenge stillness in your life. In our fast-paced world, being still feels so counterintuitive. But stillness isn't about being motionless. It isn't about not moving. It isn't about just being okay being lazy. Okay, that's not what I want you to think about when you think about stillness. Stillness is actually creating space for ultimate healing to happen. In order for these things to change within you, you have to allow for space inside of you. You have to embrace stillness into your life. And you're only going to be able to do that if you can start accepting that it is okay to have no freaking clue where you're headed. in the direction of recovery. That it is okay not to know what tomorrow is going to bring. That it is okay to be okay not being okay. And Guy Finley has this quote, and it hit me as I was prepping for the show, and I just wanted to share it with you. He says, "You must learn to stop thinking in beginnings and endings, successes and in failures, and begin to treat everything in your life as a learning experience instead of a proving one." Sis, that hit me. How often are we trying to prove our value, trying to prove our worth, trying to prove that we deserve to be there, trying to prove that we need that title, trying to prove that we are enough for the world? I want you to treat every single moment in your life as a learning experience. You don't have anything to prove. You don't have anything to prove. And when you find yourself looking to prove to others, to yourself, whatever it may be, I want you to take a pause. Instead of proving yourself, take a pause for yourself. Maybe this looks like pausing and setting specific times in the day. Maybe it's before meals, to just really get gentle with your body and go, you know what? My feet are on the floor. I am proud of myself. I may not have arrived yet, but I am being intentional with this time of nourishment. It is okay. It is okay to pause, okay? And embrace that stillness doesn't come easy for you. And being a beginner doesn't come easy for you. And guess what, friend? It doesn't come easy for me too. And this has been in all areas of my business. I mean, I just wanted to create a business and be completely successful right off the bat. And I am years into my business. I'm still not where I want to be, mind you, right? But I have to constantly be okay learning and beginning at all of these things and just embrace the fact that that is really the best part of the journey. Just like business, just like kids on a bike, just like any of these things, we're talking about embracing imperfection in life. And recovery isn't going to be perfect, and that's okay. But there are ways that you can embrace imperfection in your life and learn to be a beginner. Okay, you can keep what I call an accomplishments list or a wins journal. That's going to celebrate some small victories when you're just feeling like, today sucks. This is going to help you to practice that self-compassion and reflect in those challenging moments. I want you to set realistic and flexible goals that are going to prioritize your wellness and your actual wellness, not like culture wellness. Okay, let's not get it twisted, over perfection. And I also want you to think about your support system and finding a system of people in your life that understand your recovery. And it isn't about achieving perfection in recovery. Here's the thing. When I was young and dedicated to my sport, which was figure skating, if you've listened to the show at all, you know I was a figure skater and competitive. And it just felt like I always had to be perfect. I always had to be striving. I always had to be thriving in all the things. There was no excuses. I'm sure maybe you can relate in some area of your life, right? And so I was always achieving to prove value. I was always achieving perfection on a jump or a spin, I would do it over and over and over and over just to get it perfect. The same applied in my own recovery. I would get so down on myself when things didn't work the way that I wanted them to work. I would do it over and over until I was just flat out done doing it and tired and telling myself I wasn't ever going to recover. And if you're there, it's okay because I see you, I was there. But what I had to remember was I was new at this game. I was really good at cutting calories and slashing carbs and over-exercising and killing myself. But I wasn't really good at honoring myself with gentle movement or practicing mindful breathing or setting positive intent or preparing for meals without looking at the lowest calorie options. Like those are things I wasn't good at. And maybe you're not good at yet either. And so allowing yourself that grace is super important. And you can do that instead of trying to prove your worth and value. You can pause and reflect in some stillness and go, you know what? I want to create a peaceful eating environment for myself. I want to create a couple of statements that I can turn to when I feel like I'm judging my body or when I'm feeling like I need some additional support in the day. What do those affirmations look like? I'm going to reflect in the evening time when I'm winding down, not on all the things that I've done wrong or that I haven't yet accomplished, but I'm going to look at my accomplishment list and I'm going to add something to that list. I am going to have a moment of progress and reflect on what that progress is versus that perfection. I want you to write down these things because if we don't get them out, they stay in. Not only is this going to create a more calming environment for you, but it is going to get you into this flexibility mindset, this area of growth, where instead of looking at it as a negative that you haven't arrived yet, we are going to get real and we're going to use this as a challenge. Like Muhammad Ali says, even the greatest has once been a beginner. So don't be afraid to take that first step. Sis, I am a recovery coach. This is what I do for a living. I was once a beginner at recovery. Being here, helping you, or helping thousands of women across the world. Like, this is not something I saw for myself, but I was allowing myself to be what I was in the recovery journey. Like, I took down all expectations because I was so high achieving in all areas of my life. And I was such a control freak in all areas of my life that I knew if I continued to operate like that, it wasn't going to end well. And maybe that's where you are right now. So I want to give you some tangibles and action items that you can do to challenge you as I invite you into practicing to be still and learning to be okay with yourself and being a beginner. Number one, I want you to choose a stillness practice and I want you to commit to it for 7 days, okay? Whether that is gentle stretching, whether that is creating a calming bedroom routine that is going to give you a plan of action for you to navigate with some positive intent around what your meals are going to look like for the next day without judgment. What would that stillness practice be for you? How are you going to get okay in just being here and not having to earn, not having to feel like you deserve a space? You can take up space. You're allowed to. That doesn't mean anything negative about you. So I want to invite you in to number one, practice some stillness. I want you to choose, what does that look like? What does that action look like in creating stillness in my life this week? Number two, I want you to start an accomplishment list or a wins journal. No victory is too small. Maybe one day it's like getting out of bed because I just wanted to lay there. Maybe the next day it's I decided that I'm going to add carbs to my lunch. Maybe the next day it's I'm using full fat salad dressing instead of low fat with all of the nonsense. Whatever it is for you, start that wins journal. And number three, identify one perfectionistic behavior and allow yourself some gentleness around it. The truth is that we can't change what we don't define. And if we're constantly judging ourselves about having to live up to these crazy high standards and expectations that we've put on ourselves, we can't possibly give ourselves grace at the same time. So what is that perfectionistic behavior that you find yourself constantly doing? I want you to practice some gentle awareness around yourself. And lastly, I want you to connect. I want you to connect with one person this week who can support your journey. If you've never talked about your recovery journey, share it with somebody that you can trust and love. And if you're looking for one-on-one support and maybe a neutral party from somebody who has been there and recovered and learned what it's like to go through all of these phases in the process, I would love to talk with you and chat about recovery coaching together, because I truly believe that in work that I've done with ladies and what I call the Freedom Formula experience, it is personalized to you and we create actionable wins for you so that you see progress, even when you're feeling like a failure and even when you're not okay being a beginner. So that is what I want to invite you to do this week, is those 4 key things. Choose a stillness practice for you and commit to it. Start a wins journal, an accomplishment list. Identify one behavior trait that you feel like you are so perfectionistic around and controlling around, and practice gentleness and connect with somebody in your life or reach out to me. I'd love to work with you and support you. You can contact my team at herbestself.co and fill out a client application right there on our website. But before we close, sis, I want you to remember that being a beginner doesn't mean starting from zero. It doesn't mean you are zero. It doesn't mean that you are worthless, that you have nothing to offer. It actually means you're starting from experience. And guess what? Maybe all of that wisdom that you've learned along your path that have given you all of this knowledge is put you in the place where you are right now. Your recovery journey is uniquely yours. I have worked with so many women who have dealt with decades of eating disorders. And when they come to me, they're like, Lindsay, I have done everything in the books. I have gone to therapy, I have done treatment, I have done all the things, but I still find myself here. It doesn't mean you're starting from zero. You actually have all of that experience. And maybe that timing just wasn't in the cards for you. Maybe, it hasn't clicked there for you. But you have so much more life and breath in your lungs. Your recovery is uniquely yours. And it's embracing a beginner's mindset that is actually your purest form of strength. This is not a setback. This is a comeback, sis. And I am so excited to watch you grow, to watch you blossom into the person that you were created to be, which is what I believe is your very best self and your very best you. I hope today's episode has given you some inspiration, and I want you to share with me those 4 actions that you're going to take this week to truly embrace stillness and challenge those perfectionistic tendencies that are inside of you. Sis, it's time to be okay being a beginner again, because that just means that you are starting to give yourself some grace around your imperfect progress. I can't wait to talk to you real soon. Bye for now, girl. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.